My name's Nicholas, and I live aboard a 103-year-old historic wooden boat, Argonaut II, and I'm on a mission to build community around this boat to help out with an ongoing restoration and preservation of its history. Today, we're going to go over corking and fairing the hull, getting it ready for finish work as we look around the corner to the finish line of this winter's project. We're going to answer the question as to how do you waterproof a carvel plank boat to be sure that when we put the boat back in the water that it's not going to leak between all the seams. And additionally, we're going to get into various other projects that are still going on adjacent to the planking project. Let's talk about how you create a seal between the planks so that water doesn't go in, but also allows the planks to move against each other as the boat pitches and rolls through the water when you're going through a sea state. And this is primarily done in two steps. The first is a two-step process of corking, where we actually pound layers of cotton and oakum between the seams so that when the boat is put back in the water and water starts coming through, both the cotton and the wood planking expands until it forms a tight seal and water's no longer passing through. And then second, an additional layer of seam compound is pushed into the seam that not only helps to create a fair, smooth surface, but is flexible enough so that as the wood expands, it can push out the compound while maintaining an additional protective layer, preventing water from coming through. The planks are fastened into the frame, one next to each other, but they're done so with about a 1-inch deep corking bevel that is cut in at about a 6-degree angle, which leaves a space to pack corking material made out of cotton and oakum in order to create a place for both the planks to move and expand and contract with each other, but also to seal. There's 3 layers of material that we put into this corking bevel. The first is a layer of cotton, which fits into a very narrow space in the back inch or so of the seam. Generally, the wood is touching wood here, and we're just putting cotton into any space that exists between the 2 planks. We will follow the cotton with 1 to 2 layers of oakum, which is made out of a hemp-like material that's very fibrous, that helps the planks move back and forth as the boat pitches and rolls through the waves in a sea state, as well as allowing the planks to expand and contract without rubbing against each other. We'll put a sealing layer on top of the corking material using old paint, and then finally we'll put in a seam compound that is more like a putty that fills in the rest of the space of the seam and makes it fair with the hull, and so that when the boat's all finished, you're going to see a nice, smooth surface. I'd like to introduce you to a wonderful character in the yard named Bill, who's going to be doing the majority of the corking on Argonaut.
Yeah, I go by Bill. I retired from logging when I turned 50 and came here to find work, and this is where they started me. They said, well, you'd make a good corker. I like the job because all I need is a small bag of tools. I don't have a great big shop to pack around with me. But yeah, being a logger, I'm kind of a tramp anyway. I didn't want to get stuck in it, but I'm still here. I started out in my early 20s hauling timber and skidding logs. I worked driving horses, pulling logs. That was my most fun job. Mechanical skidders, caterpillars, and rubber-tied skidders from eastern Washington, North Idaho, out here to the west side. Out here I was able to work 12 months a year, raise my family. I got pretty badly injured, and I wasn't taking good care of my safety, so I went to fallen timber again, where I had to look out for myself. And I did that for about 25 years.
What Bill is doing here is a process called rolling oakum, which comes in these big rolls, and he's spreading it out based on the thickness of the seams that he's corking, which is often a personal preference to the corker who's doing the work.
To loosen it up so I can repack it into the seams is what we're doing here. Right here I'm stretching the fibers. The fibers are about this long, and they get bunched up in places, so you kind of have to spread them apart so it's loose. Yeah, it's like, how big is the seam in the boat? Really big seams, you almost can put it in like that, except it's hard. Like on this boat with all those new planks, and the wood's really hard. It takes a pretty skinny yarn, and I'm only getting 1 roll of yarn in on top of 1 roll of cotton. Guys did a good job of getting wood to wood on the boat.
What Bill's referring to when he says wood to wood is this back 1 inch of the seam where there's very little tolerance that was cut out from the template from plank to plank.
The seams are proper. You know, the wood is back and they're open at the front. Yeah, easiest to cork I've ever been in, quickest to cork. Yeah, this is the finest planking job I've seen. Cotton kind of holds the water. It absorbs water and stays in the back of the seam.
That's a pretty tight seam right there.
And it goes into a much tighter crack than the Oakum. The Oakum packs in kind of hard. It's folded in and creates a friction breaker between the planks. And that's why we fold it in. It's not just laid in like a piece of rope. It goes in like a rope. It doesn't work very good at all. You have to, what we call tuck it in. We'll get to that later on. And I'm kind of taking a shortcut here. I'm not rolling every time because I got some pretty good yarn. And so the yarn's nice and fluffy. It's pretty oily, so you got to put something on your leg and it'll ruin your clothing doing this. It's some kind of petroleum. It's got an odor to it. It's kind of hard to wash off your hands and clothing.
For recorking old seams, Bill first cleans out the corking bevel from any splintered wood, and then he applies linseed oil to lubricate the seam and help the corking material move as he hammers it into place.
Yeah, I avoid going out on the end of these because if I try to cork it, I could split the plank. So I leave that until I do this seam at the end.
A lot of good time riding in a crew bus with a crew of men. As timber fellers, we had small crews, 4 to 6 guys, and we became pretty close because we had to look out for each other's safety to make sure that everybody could come out of the woods every day. And yeah, I lost a few partners over the period of time. Fortunately, none of them while I was there. But yeah, it was a dangerous trade. Yeah, it's hard to believe I've been doing this for 25 years.
This is a threader. It's got the rounded edges, but it makes it easy to scoot along. When I set the cotton in, it's a thinner iron, and then as it gets further out, it gets whiter. That's why we have so many of them. I tried to get it 1 roll of cotton and 2 Oakum, but with the new planking up there, I was able to get 1 roll of cotton, 1 roll Oakum. Things move along pretty quick that way. Well, I have my iron here somewhere. Oh, there it is. If I can keep my elbow tucked to my chest or my waist,
Yep.
and use my wrist, I'm way less likely to hit my hand. That hurts when you hit your hand. Kind of like throwing a baseball. You do it with your arm, you won't hit anything. You use your wrist, you'll get somewhere.
You used to play baseball?
No. Yeah, well, cotton will kind of absorb water and swallow a little bit and kind of keep the seam wet and sealed. And the Oakum kind of cuts down the abrasion between the planks. Because, as the boat goes through the water, it wiggles.
Yep.
And if it was wood to wood, it'd make a lot of noise, squeaking. There's got to be some degree of fold, even in the cotton.
Okay.
So it packs in good and hard. If you just lay a string in there, you won't pack. Yeah, Dr. Linseed oil. Lots of it everywhere you go. Just slather it on.
While we had the opportunity, Patty made me some new port light trim out of some leftover Sipo mahogany from the planking material. I'm gonna varnish it over to pop a little color into the boat. With all this new planking on the port side, we lost the place of where the waterline goes. So to remedy that, we are going to use the information on the starboard side as a reference to redraw the port side waterline. How do you project a waterline from one side of the hull to the other side of the hull, we're going to use what's called a water level that is made up of a hose filled with water with a clear plastic sight glass on either side, where the water level in one sight glass will always match the water level of the other sight glass. And so by taking an observation on one side of the hull using a sight glass, we will be able to project where the reading mark on the other side of the hull is based on where the water level is on the other sight glass.
God, is that just amazing or what?
Science.
And so what I want to do, Patty, is I'm going to take a ruler and measure 5 inches down from my water line. I'll line up my meniscus and then you mark.
Meniscus.
Why are you laughing?
None of us know what that word
is a
means.
cartilaginous
No.
egg in
it's the
between
bu-
The
your
meniscus is
knee.
the very bottom of the bubble because there's a curve. There's no line here. If you go from the edge, you're going to be marking higher than the meniscus. Do you include the pencil line or not?
I have put the width of a pencil line out from where my actual line is, which is like an eighth of an inch, 2/16 or something, 2/16. There's this pencil line and that pencil line. It's different.
I mean, I've had meniscus surgery.
Miles, like, I'm out of here.
We're gonna go drive the forklift around in circles.
Let me go drive a forklift. And while the meniscus does refer to some soft tissue in your knee, if you remember back in science class, when you're taking a reading, the water tension on a narrow tube is so great that the edge of the water is at a different height than the middle of the bubble. And the bottom of this curve is called the meniscus. And that's the point where you always take a reading when you're using a tool or measuring device like this. So an easier way to do this would be to either use a laser level that projects a straight and level line across the hull, or to fix one end of the water gauge up on a point and just have one person walk around with the other end to map out the water line. For either of those solutions to work, the boat needs to be perfectly level. So the first thing we did was to test whether or not that was the case. Right there is where I want the water line, but you're still 5 inches short of the current one.
Excuse me?
Hold it up again. I don't have any water in my tube.
You don't have any water? Okay, I'm adding more water to the system.
I have water.
It's gonna take a bit to equalize. So put the level of your water on the mark. Okay, so do you need to go up?
I need to go up.
Okay, I'm gonna go up with you. Let's go up together 3 inches. Are you there?
I'm there.
The level of your water is on the water line.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
That's great.
Where's yours?
Mine is, what would you reckon, that's 8 inches above? It's about 8 inches above. So your boat's doing a nose down.
No, it's popping a wheelie.
No, it's doing an
Endo?
It's popping a wheelie.
Wait, is it? Is the boat popping a wheelie or is it doing a nose wheel?
Oh, it would be a wheelie. If his water level is lower.
Yeah, because mine's buried down, so. Yeah, she's popping a wheelie, dude. She's doing a manual.
All right, so then we're gonna have to do everything we're gonna start from the bow and then we're gonna have to run both sides.
Yeah, first of all, let's put your yellow cap on the water level to close the system.
All right, capping.
Cap and trade.
Capped.
There you go. Fun. Step 1 complete.
I'm there.
Okay, I got it.
That looks good for me.
Okay, I got it. Where are you in relation to the eco block?
I'm about 3 feet forward of the eco block.
Yeah, me too. Let's get a measurement here.
I'm a little far from the boat.
You having problems with your meniscus?
Right there.
You're on it?
That looks good to me.
Alright.
Let's move back to the eco block.
So I'm in plane with that forward face of the eco block.
I'm scooching.
Scooch. Let's get that bubble to calm down. Are you on the mark?
No, we gotta come up half inch.
Up a half inch.
Yeah, too much.
Too much. Coming down. Okay, I'm marking it. Got it.
Middle of the eco block.
I love it. I love where your head's at.
Center of the eco block where that hole is in the sandpaper.
Yep.
Half inch.
Up a half inch. Gotta love the callbacks. Up a half inch. Copy that. It's pretty fun, isn't it? Isn't it? It's the bubble, man. Is your bubble at the spot?
Bubbles at the spot. Woo! so it's not at the spot.
I just moved my hand a little bit. That's where that came from.
Bubbles at the spot.
Bubbles at the spot. Copy that.
Does Miles approve of this plan?
Miles says that it's the best bubble level job he's ever seen.
Did he tell you that you're supposed to measure at the meniscus?
The meniscus.
On the mark.
Love it. Okay. Capping.
Capping.
Is this the most fun you've ever had in your life?
Yeah, it feels like we're like talking between tree fort.
It feels like we're really bonding right now.
Ready to take the cap off?
Ready to bust a cappy? Yeah, let's do it.
That looks pretty good right there.
You like it, huh?
Yeah, I like that one.
Got it.
Got it.
All right, I got my mark.
Capping.
Capping. So I'm going to Las Vegas this weekend.
Yeah, what are you doing in Vegas?
We're gonna go do some climbing and red walks. I've had this trip planned for months, thinking that,
Argonaut would be done?
well, I mean, I didn't really know.
All right, center of the next block. I'm taking the cap off.
Taking the cat. Oh.
Mark it. I like it a lot.
Scooching?
Scooching. Center of the next block.
How's the sound of my cap? I'm keeping myself busy by drawing happy faces and sad faces on the bunks.
All right, that looks good there.
It's funny hearing my own voice.
Ah, damn it. That's how you celebrate that you're done using the bubble gum. Great. Once the waterline was marked, we trace it with a batten and then cut out a small kerf in the hull, which is an easy way to paint the waterline going forward. The next step in the process after the seams are corked is to fair the hull. And the reason we wait till afterwards is that the corking will actually move the planks up and down, so you fair the hull after the planks have settled into where they want to be. This here is what we like to call in the Pacific Northwest bear, which is a mixture of Portland cement, roofing tar, and a little bit of linseed oil that just softens it up. And we'll use this to pay all the seams below the waterline. Now that we have the waterline kerf cut into the hull, we will be paying the seams with the bear, which is another layer of sealing protection from the cotton and oakum seams beneath it. And as it dries out, it thickens up, but still remains a little bit flexible. Planks, as they soak, will expand and rub back and forth a little bit. And this is forgiving on the seams, yet still keeps a roughly watertight seal. To apply it, we just make a little Tootsie Roll shaped bit, press it into the back of the seam,
I am applying bear.
What do you
really enunciated this. Bear. Scheiße to the bottom of this boat.
Good morning, Joe.
Morning, Nick. There's always to do out here. Am I paying seams? I'm paying seams with bear, which is really aptly named. Stuff is gnarly and oddly fibrous. I think I'm doing a good job, but I don't think they're going to be handing out jobs, in the boatyard for me doing this. I don't think I'm very fast.
And we use two different types of putties for seams that are topside and seams that are below the waterline. Above waterline, we use a mix of different seam compounds, which will dry out eventually, but take over the course of years and still remain soft to allow the planks to expand and push out some of the seam compound. And then bear that helps to fair the hull below the waterline. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. I'm with my friend Carl, who is volunteering with us quite frequently. He's the one that made all those really cool cribbage boards and such. And we are cleaning up all the bedding compound from the guard, and then we're paying seams with seam compound to fill in the gaps and create another layer of water protection ahead of the Oakum.
We've done about 40 feet of 4,000.
Yeah, it's a long process, but I don't know. I think we can finish up the whole port side paying seams today. So at least for this section.
Optimistic?
Huh?
Are we optimistic?
I'm here all day. I'm here all day. We'll see.
No.
We'll let everyone else know that we're faster than we actually are.
They got me to take over for Patty when the technical stuff really started.
I mean, my technique isn't great, so.
Cooking channel pretty quickly.
Well, I'm pretty good. Yeah. Who wants a slice? Bait.
Is that the one? Use it on purpose.
Goes eating.
We're friends.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause it's so like you gotta get your room and you
This is just like a little Purple Heart burnishing tool I made for flattening sheet metal, mostly for doing lead patches. That way I don't mar up the metal with the hammer. And then I also use it once it's on. You can whack the edges with it and round them over. So my grandfather was a master mason. He used to build a lot of chimneys. And they all get flashed with lead. So it was like his favorite part of the job. He always looked forward to that.
Doing the lead flashing?
Yeah, because number one, it meant that he was done.
Yeah.
But it was also like, it was really satisfying for him. So anytime I do it, I think of him. Not the forbidden pudding.
Next thing I'm gonna do is just put a quick coat of paint onto the stem, because now that it's out in the sun, it's starting to dry up and there's a little bit of checking going on. We're gonna go ahead and just paint it just to seal it up. And I'm using the new jade green color that I am thinking about painting the hull with. This is just gonna be an early coat, so you're using a dark one. The stem itself will eventually be black. Thank you all so much for watching, and for everyone who's been supporting this project so far. Having the port side closed up feels so good, and we are still carrying a lot of momentum as we continue to tackle different projects. Now, if you enjoy these videos and the project that I'm doing with Argonaut, and whether you're new or have been watching for a while, Please consider joining my Patreon to help support the making of these videos and to continue building the growing community that exists around this boat. Future videos are going to include attacking some damage to the propeller.
That's it.
And doing some routine maintenance on the drive shaft. We're going to be digging into a little bit of the remaining rot on the starboard side of the boat that was not completed back in 2023 when I did the first major haul out with Rowan and Pete. And there's a whole bunch more of work to be done before we get to the phase of painting the boat. And to help us get there, I'm going to continue to post the fundraiser to try and close the remaining gap of what is needed to get this boat back in the water so that this summer I can bring even more videos to you with the boat cruising around some of its home waters in British Columbia. Thank you all so much for watching, and particularly thank you to those who have contributed to this project so far. There is no way we'd even come close to coming this far without all of your help. And now it seems like the finish line is just a couple of months or even weeks away. Let's keep up this momentum, and I will see you all next time.